It's Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
And good morning. It is Con Carne. Still at home. We're calling it Quarantine Con Carne for now. I'm James Van Alstyne, and Con Carne is presented by our friends at Siren Records Mchenry, 3902 Main Street. Really one of my favorite record stores, period. I go there. I like to buy vinyl there. I like going through the stacks. They've got all the old punk stuff, all the old metal stuff, tons of alternative stuff. They also have a gear section in back, all the audio components, turntables, cassette decks, receivers. It's like a museum, speakers, but you can buy everything. I love that place. If you are anywhere north of the city, head in their direction. Siren Records Mchenry, 3902 Main Street. So today, this morning, I have with me, well, to backtrack a little bit, back in April, I had a round table with some of the members of CIVL, the Chicago Independent Venue League. I had Katie from the Hideout, Chris from Patio Theater and Avondale Music Hall, Robert from Sub Tea and Beat Kitchen, and Cole from Cole's Bar. A lot of time has passed since then, and I'm checking back in with the CIVL membership. Tim Tuten of Hideout, Matt of Chop Shop, thank you for joining me on a Sunday morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see both of you.
See you, James.
So here we are. Things look bleak back in April for local independent venues, for music venues, the music industry, period. 7 months have elapsed. Where are we now?
Wow. Who wants to jump on that one?
Okay.
We're in the same place. We're dark. You know, that's nothing has changed.
Well, has there been movement in lobbying, in getting help, in any of those efforts?
100%. Tim, take it away for a minute.
Yeah, I know okay. Yes. This is the best of times and the worst of times, right? Charles Dickens, okay. Tale of Two Cities. We're in the worst time ever, right? And this winter, we are entering the winter of our discontent. All right. Sorry, throwing that in, high school teacher in me. And so we are entering the winter, the cold months, right? And this year, 2020, was the year of Chicago music. That is where we entered 2020. 1 year ago, in 2019, we were all meeting at the Cultural Center, talking about different ideas, what we might do. And the pandemic came in the spring. So when you interviewed us back in April, and thank you, James, because that, like, right when it happened was March 13th. Okay, right. Friday the 13th. And then they shut us down on before St. Patrick's Day. And we've been shut down ever since. Back in April, we thought this is going to be a couple months, just like everybody else did.
Sure.
And we literally at the Hideout, and we were thinking, okay, we'll be back up by summer and we'll be ready to go for a day in the country on June 20th. And we'll be doing Year of Chicago Music, and the festival season will happen in July, and there'll be Pitchfork and Riot Fest and Lollapalooza in the fall. And you know what happened? We are shut down, and now it's even worse, okay? And we know that we're going through 6 more months. So what started out to be 2 months is turning into a year, okay? And so that's a terrible situation for our clubs to make it through. And so there's a lot more I could tell. Matt, do you want to jump on that?
I'll jump in there. So what's been nice is the CIVL, the Chicago Independent Venue League has really turned into this cohort of all of the independently operated clubs in Chicago, and come together on multiple calls, multiple days a week, putting in full-time work on advocacy, fundraising, special projects, all this stuff, all these different committees working and talking. And we've been beaten down the door in Springfield and Washington. And I think we've made some great impact. We've heard stuff from representatives that, like, hey, if you get, this many calls through to an office, like, you're doing great. We've exceeded that by 10 times. They're blown away by the effort they're seeing coming out of our state. So, and that's all been driven by CIVL. And, NEVA started after CIVL. And, they're maybe playing catch up a little bit, but we're putting in a lot of hard work during these dark months. So that's been kind of the silver lining, if you will. And that kind of, I think, gets to your point, James, about what we've been doing. We've been dark, but we have not been sitting around. Everyone just kind of said, let's rally up and come together and see what we can do. And that's what brings us to today.
This has been such an incredible year, because you know how there's this idea you're too busy to get shit done. And so we own venues and we go and see rock bands. And like the way the Civilization Festival is going to be, which is going to start on Friday, after Thanksgiving, the venues that will be that are filmed are the Hideout, and it's going to be Tonic Room, and it's going to be Subterranean. That's on the first Friday night. And there's going to be more venues throughout the course of the month with more bands. Okay, that is what our Friday nights used to look like. I used to be at the Hideout. I would like open up a band. I might run over to the chop shop. I might go to Shuba's. I might like stop by the Empty Bottles, for real. And hopefully using a Lyft or a divvy bike, okay, and not driving, all right? And so, but a normal Friday night in Chicago with us and with the people who come to our shows isn't one night. It's like you literally go to Subterranean, you walk over to the chop shop, you hit other bars, and you go to see all these bands. And we like took it for granted. And it's like, well, dude, if you were like, I had never met Matt until this summer. And it's like, I've been to the chop shop. He's been to the Hideout. And it's always like, dude, check in with me, ask about me when you're there. But you never do. Right. So finally, we got to a place where it's like, all right, everybody, sit down, go home. You are now in isolation. So the whole excuse you didn't call was like, what the fuck are you doing? Where are you? And it's like, I'm at home. Well, so am I. And because we had CIVL, because we had already had a group, it's like, well, we got to call them out. So immediately, everybody was like, Joe, what are you doing at the Metro? What's happening, Michael, at Shuba's? What's going on? Chop Shop, how are you guys dealing with this? And literally every day, it's out of control. Every day, every week, we meet with each other on a Zoom. So the weird thing about this whole Zoom thing and all that, now all of us are like meeting, and it's like now we have time to talk to each other just about the specifics of the pandemic, the specifics of dealing with logistics and how to do a band. But we're also like, hey man, how's it going? So I noticed I wanted to catch Half Gringa at Tonic Room, but I wasn't, how are they or what's going? We're talking. So we have become so much tighter and closer. And we've gone from 8 to 12 to 35 members of CIVL, and there are many venues that are part of us, that and nonprofits and restaurants and people, bars that are just part of our conversation and our interaction. So we've actually taken this time has made us closer, because we were able to sit down and talk and actually look at each other in Zoom. Because typically when we see each other, it's 11 o'clock at night on a Friday. And when you're talking to a dude at the chop shop, it'd be like, you're always looking at the stage to make sure, is the sound good? Is there too much high end in there? Do we need to lower the bass a little bit? Wait a minute. She's throwing up in the bathroom. I need a mop. Can I get a mop? Are we at a PBR? Right. What was that you were saying about Bernie Sanders? Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah. Okay. We need some more PBRs over here. So I know. So
it's funny. You're too busy because you're operating, right? It's not fun sometimes to host people at your own place, because you're right. You're too busy worrying about this person puking in the bathroom. And you're like, oh fuck, this is gonna be a terrible look.
And also, you can't really have a meaningful conversation. You can't have a meaningful conversation.
Saying though, we have more fun at other people's venues sometimes, because then we can hang and drink.
Right.
And the same fans that would be at the Hideout would be over at Chop Shop, and then it's like, dude, what's going on? And then we can actually talk to them, but the actual owner, or the venue manager is busy. So that's actually a good point. We love.
You can't actually have a conversation when a live band is on stage anyway. Like I just do I do a lot of polite nodding when someone tries to talk to me during a show, but I can't hear it. Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And those of us, literally, if I'm in another club talking to somebody, people look at me and they're like, go to the Hideout if you want to talk. All right. Really, dude, you know, and it's like, sorry. So I have to actually be super careful to go to the far corner of the empty bottle or like in the pool room. And then I can't see the band. And then I'm like, you know.
Well, I think what you both are touching on is something pretty impressive. You kind of built community that probably was already there, but you reinforced it and moved it forward. I mean, local bands, local musicians, they have a community. They kind of recognize each other from playing different gigs all around the place. And, oh, hey, how are you doing? What's up? But from what I'm hearing, it hasn't been as consistent with the venue owners.
That's right. And it's funny you say that because, you know, if you ever worked in the service industry, you know, when you wait tables, there is this community, no matter if, you know, you're at Blackbird and I'm at, you know, the hot dog joint, there's still like this camaraderie between servers and bartenders. And when I was, you know, used to bartend way back when, any bar you go to, you get respect, right? You're like, you know, barman respects barman. Totally. And, but owners have never come together like this before. I've never seen this, you know, and it's kind of elevated the little ecosystem, at least for me. And it's been really special for me. I've been really enjoying this and getting like joy out of playing a role in this and seeing how this community is really kind of coming together. So I think that's a huge positive to come out of all this. And I can't wait to see what happens once we get like, you know, operational again. I think that this city is going to be a city to reckon with when it comes to live music.
Well, and teaming up, coming together is the only way forward for these independent venues. If it was just Beat Kitchen and Subterranean taking on all this, it would be pissing in the wind. You need the strength of your community to move forward.
Yeah. And that is something, it's interesting because for years, you know, when we've been going to South by Southwest in Austin, or when we've been going out to Hopscotch in North Carolina, when we go to New Orleans and we talk to the folks there, the city of Chicago is seen around the country from New York to LA, and NIVA the National Independent Venue Association, it like reinforces this. Everyone looks at us and they're just like, damn, you guys got so much going on, man. And we hear that like it's not dog eat dog like New York or all about stardom in LA. It's about Chicago is this big badass city, but also has this community sensibility, right? And so people are always like, that is so cool. Musicians come and they play at our venues and they're like, we love you guys playing in Chicago. It's one of the best markets for touring bands. And they're like, and we know the club owners won't screw us. There's not a history of that kind of behavior. Yes, there is that shit that has happened in our history, not denying, but Chicago has this great rep. And so we live on that and we love it when we're down at Austin, South by, and people are like, Chicago in the house, badass, awesome community. We wish we had that in Austin. So what happens is in reality, we know we had it. We take it for granted, but we don't have it as deep as we need to. It's like, yeah, we know each other. Oh yeah, you know that you could go to the Bottler Talia and see Bruce, Metro see Joe. You know that Matt's going to be over there. We're hands-on people. And you know, like you can go to whatever, the Rainbow and see members of Tortoise. I don't know. We are out there. People say that kind of shit, right? I saw Rick Rizzo walking down the street. She actually, like, you know, back when we were open. But the point is, we have a community. The bands have always had that sensibility. The venue owners have. But, you know, we never spent this much time actually talking to each other. We were just spinning around. Sure. And the good news is we were a community. But now it's like we've been kind of like we went from Chicago to like Civil to like Civilization Festival. And that's another thing about what do you do in Chicago? I know I'm the talkie guy, the Windy City guy. It's like actions speak louder than words. So it's like, we know we talk a big game up here, right? But it's like, are you actually doing it? Do you really have a community? If so, let us see it. Civilization shows that. It's like we're working together, clubs together, all right? The bands together. Working with DKs, it's like we are actually proving in a documented evidence.
Yeah.
We're actually, this is really fun and a really good time in a worst time ever. That's the Chicago style. Not only are we the music capital of America, we're the fucking comedy central of
Absolutely.
America. We are. And the combination of a sense of humor, but a sense of purpose. I didn't write this down. They aren't talking points. It's like, that is like, we're doing it. Civilization. And so before the end of the year of Chicago music ends, we're doing it. From Thanksgiving to Christmas, this year will not end until you see the results visually of Civilization. And the best part, the money is going to benefit the actual 70,000 plus people that work in the industry across our city to the Civil Save Fund, all right, is to raise money to help the actual artists, staff, the venues, the engineers, the crews that are all part of this community.
The year doesn't end until Civil says it's over. It's as simple as that. 2020 is not over until Civil is done with it. So the Civilization,
a lot of people might want to end this year. So
yeah, fair enough.
We ended on a high note. That's what we're going to say.
So I do want to go deeper into the Civilization concert series, which kicks off Friday night, to talk about some of the artists. And this is a fantastic thing you've put together for civilchicago.com. I do want to acknowledge, as you've built community among the venue owners, among yourselves, it's been pretty inspired to watch other people come out and find creative ways to support your efforts, Civil's efforts. I think about what Goose Island did.
With the beer.
You have, oh, look at that. You've got the prop ready.
Prop, yeah. Mine's in the fridge.
This is the most beautiful thing. And they came and they're like, what can we do? Yeah. And this was before the festival.
Yeah.
They were like, what can we do?
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
Beer. I know, I love it too.
And then there's the Situation Chicago double vinyl album, which is fantastically cool.
Yes,
thank you, Trey.
Elder. Thank you, all you guys.
Smash Plastic, yeah. But it's nice to see the community respond in ways that are appropriate for them. I think that's been really inspired. I'll tell you, as this has dragged on, and as venues have remained dark, I have been nervously, cautiously optimistic. I still have that fear of like the Hunger Games cannon off in the distance signifying a fallen soldier. I'm still anxious and kind of walking on eggshells, hoping that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And I know I mean, no one's sitting on mountains of money to keep things moving forward when there's no revenue coming in. There's not some crazy stockpile any of these venues have. So it's a precarious moment.
Yeah. And that's why we're doing this Civilization, music series. So that and to launch the Save Fund, as Tim said, Staff Artist Venue Emergency Relief Fund is a huge thing.
You're the best at acronyms. Can we just say that?
We are pretty
You've got
good.
acronyms down.
Yeah. We got it down. But the Civilization Fest, as Tim said, really came together with like a small committee of 12 people, all from different clubs, and it's the staff as well, that are putting time in for nothing right now, but just to be a part of this thing. And we're gonna have 4 rockin' episodes, so we're entertaining people again in a dark time. This is like a little bit of light for us, and like Tim said, it's kind of like that club hopping experience, coming back, where we get to see multiple venues, multiple bands all in one night, and do a little good. So hopefully we entertain and we raise awareness for Save, and we end the year on a high note.
I love it. So it's 4 different episodes, and it'll be weekly on Fridays.
Pointing out though is that we are not a big corporation. We do not have 500 million coming in from the Middle East to help refund our merger and acquisitions. All right, fact, because that's happening. All right, in the industry in this country, we are independent, owner-operated venues. So it's like we've got the CIVL acronym, which we love it, and I'm glad you love it. Chicago, but it's the first letter is independent. We're all independent. We all do our weird stuff, right? We're all different, but we're a league, okay? And this is very intentional because we are living in a time where there are large corporations in the entertainment industry that are looking to buy up vulnerable properties during this period. They know some of us are going down. And they know that some of us are desperate because the Save Our Stages Act has not made it through the Senate yet. And we know what's happening there. We've been working, lobbying, trying to get our representatives. 13 of the 18 Illinois representatives are all 100% for us. Our senators are with us on this, Durbin and Duckworth. All of the Chicago delegation is fighting for us in Washington. The city of Chicago is out there. The mayor is supporting Save Our Stages. The governor. We are using every political process that we can. But you know what? This is like old school Chicago. Dude, you got to save yourself. Be ready. Be street smart. So save is like, we hope to get outside help, but we know we have to save ourselves. And the save fund is like, but we can't keep begging all of our fans, all of the people that go to the music. Can you buy another t-shirt? Can you buy this? But we do. CIVL, we've got shower curtains, so it isn't just t-shirts. We've got hats. We've got warm-up pants. We are doing all kinds. We got dugouts, all right, over at the Hideout. We are selling merchandise to survive and asking for government support, and we're getting positive responses without necessarily the money. So we are trying, because we know for a fact this winter, some of our clubs could close. And we know already in Chicago, some of the great restaurants and some of the clubs, they've already closed, okay? So instead of waiting for that to happen, I'm not saying, I hate to use like the word like a ventilator. We're prepping, we're preparing, we're like raising the money during the holidays, all right, to get us through to next year, And that's the spirit of Chicago. It's like we're a city of neighborhoods, we're a city of community, but it's like everyone steps up to help each other. And I know it sounds cliche, but we're actually in a battle right now. And that battle started before COVID-19. It started with the corporatization of the venues and the entertainment industry, and it's turned into this. So this is it's a very interesting economic and pandemic combined situation. And we need to make it through this winter. And the only way we do it is we're helping ourselves. And the rest of the country, New Orleans, Austin, Seattle, San Francisco, those dudes look at Chicago and they're going, damn, those guys step up. Yeah. They pull it together because we are the city of organizers. That's our, sorry. So
that's true.
So CIVLIZATION, the festival, it's 4 episodes. This will be weekly on Friday.
Yes.
On Fridays.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about week 1. And I'm glad, I wasn't sure if this was just a one-time thing or if it was a series. That would explain some missing venues on this list for this week.
Yeah. Well, as you can imagine, we have, we've been working very cautiously to get these things done over the last couple of weeks. So we've been cautious to roll it out in case we needed to press pause on anything, for any reason. So, and
who's been shooting everything?
We are partnered with Audio Tree.
Makes sense.
Yep, it's great.
They've got that stuff figured out.
Absolutely.
Another cool example of how
great partner.
Lincoln Hall, Audio Tree step up, and then they do videos at all of our clubs. It's another cool integration.
Yeah, it's been great.
So first week, talk to me about some of the venues and artists who are participating on Friday night.
So I feel like I shouldn't give it all away because I want to keep some of the, but I think the cat's out of the bag. So we have Dos Santos at the Hideout. We have Latin X Half Gringa at Tonic Room, and then those funky SO guys at Sub T. So that's what we're going to do in episode 1. And then we have 12 more acts and venues to lay on in the next.
This is a big production.
Yeah,
this is no small effort. How from concept to getting this out into the world on Friday, how long did this take to
We've been talking about this since probably June or July.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, and then we put together a little, and at that time it was like, let's jump in and be innovative and get this done. And the way it's worked out has actually been really nice because at that time in the summer, we were really into advocacy and working hard on hitting, DC with everything we had. And so that effort needed to be there. Right. And we thought we'd get another, stimulus round and all that. And then we could do something, we could do something in the fall or winter and it'll be more for entertainment. But now this effort is like, this is the ship. We're sailing this one for entertainment and to save our stages and, and to save our industry. So this is good timing as far as the rollout goes, and the production obviously it is no small lift. So that's why we're, it's taking as long as it is, but it's coming together beautifully.
I can't wait to watch this. I was watching, speaking of the Hideout, I was watching end of October, Josh Caterer of Smoking Popes put together a new band, and he live streamed a performance from the stage of the Hideout. And there's something it kind of makes my hair stand on end as I talk about it. Something so striking about seeing this performance happening in front of an empty room. The musicianship is one thing, but the message, the power of the situation really comes through.
Yeah.
Where band finishes and it's just dead silent. I mean, there's no more powerful situation. And it'll be really interesting to watch all this kind of unfold over the next 4 weeks, seeing these venues come alive as best they can in these circumstances. And so this will be live streamed on the CIVL Chicago website.
Yes,
that's right.
And then there'll be opportunities on the site to contribute and help save and everything within that context.
Yes.
So as people are watching, they can, okay.
Yeah.
This is wonderful. This is,
that save fund is up there now. So you don't even have to wait till Friday. You can go there right now if you want to open another window and, click that button to contribute to the save fund right now. But, and that's going to be the idea. We'll keep that up, from now till eternity, until we're in a better place. But yeah, it'll be right there as you watch. You can click and donate.
Tell me, as it pertains to both of you specifically, as you watched performances happen on your stage during this time when your venues are dark, tell me about the emotions you had watching these performances come together.
I can tell you, I actually texted my partner the day that we did the shoot, and I was in the building, but I almost broke into tears. Like the first time hearing live music in the space after that long, and it was so beautiful. I was walking and I literally just had to sit down. I pulled a chair out and I sat, and I almost lost it. Almost lost it. I really did. And but it was like the best. It was an amazing emotion. It was like, this is what this room is built for. This was the dream when we dreamt it up and sketched it out and put that there and did this and that. It was like, this was the purpose for this place. And, something that we've been talking about on the side in our little support group when it's not all business is beyond the major economic losses, like without that, even just like this loss of sense of purpose has been tough. It's like, what do we do every day? Like we used to have very clear, ideas of what we were doing with ourselves and with our places. So again, another reason why CIVL's been great, because it's been like, okay, well, we know what we do now. We get together and we figure out how we fix this instead of sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves.
Tim, tell me about your emotional state when you saw the Hideout stage plugged in. And
so we've had a few live shows this summer with John Langford, Sally Timms, Bethany Thomas, Josh Caterer, and growing concerns. And the thing that hits me is when the performers show up a couple hours early to sound check, right? We have to do a temperature check. So everyone has to get their temperature. Everyone's wearing a mask, okay? So people come in, they wear their mask, they get their temperature, and then the musician, literally, it's like, they're like, we good? And it's like, we're good. Okay, we're good. All right. Then people like kind of like a bar, like the Hideout, rock and roll, they gingerly go inside, and it's like you have a different feeling because everyone's wearing masks, including the sound people, the camera people, everybody. And we open up all the windows, okay? And so everyone's looking around like, are we safe? Are we cool? So then the musicians come up, and during their sound checks, they have their masks on, right? And there's this really emotional thing where before the set starts, like when you look at Dos Santos, okay, it's like, okay, everyone's like, we good? We good with this? We ready? They take off, they put their masks down and they start playing. And I mean, like Matt's like, he's going to cry. You look at it and you're like, everyone's like, could get sick here. Everyone is like, shit, we're going to do this. We are going to risk the possibility of getting COVID but we're going to play. It's pretty, and you don't see that on the video. You just see the band up there playing, and they're rocking out on the Hideout stage, right? And they do their set, and we kept our sets intentionally. They're not 2-hour sets, okay? We kept them shorter for not only so that it could be like an intense showcase set, but also it's like for health purposes, right?
Of course.
That's going like in the background here. But the band is willing to take that risk. The clubs are doing that so that we can do that. And the real reason they're doing it, all these bands, whether it's Dos Santos or David Boykin or whoever's doing it, they're like, we want to raise attention to the Civil Save Fund, because we're playing right now knowing that if people watch this and they donate, they're going to get a lot of money, and that's going to be spread out across the city. So they're like literally taking a risk so that they can raise money for other people. And then the room is empty. There are no fans. So it's like a weird feeling. You're like, no one's there to applaud. And there's this weird part of you thinking like, I hope people are donating money. Just applaud with your money. And then you feel guilty because you feel like that is so messed up that I'm hoping to raise money. And then you think like, but we do charge at the door all the time because the band's got to get paid. And so does the film crew. And so does everyone. Everyone's got to get paid. So you're thinking of health and you're thinking of money. I know this sounds weird, but what's the instant thought? When people take off the mask, just like any sound check that's happened for 25 years, people always do the sound check and go, okay, we good? We ready to go? But this time it has more intensity.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, we're doing this and we don't know when we will do this again. We don't know, but we're going to go into this performing this set. You know, it's a beautiful thing, you know, but it's also an intense thing.
Yeah, a lot of high emotion.
That sense of not knowing what's coming next is a daunting one. Right.
I can't imagine.
Yeah.
We can't imagine. We can imagine a city without with less venues that we just are like, oh, they closed, they did. We can see that. That's why we're imagining 2021. And that's why we're saying before the end of the year, we need to do a we do a festival because we celebrate, but we do a festival because we organize and we cover ourselves, because we have to make sure it's like, show me the money.
Yeah.
You know,
we have to do it for ourselves.
Cover this, right?
Well, I think the fact that you're doing this and the timing of this is great, because we as music fans, just citizens of the universe, are subject to this ongoing fire hose of data, bad news, information. It's hard to keep anything top of mind. So I think a challenge for CIVL, for venues, restaurants, whatever, is just keeping top of mind as people are navigating through all this stuff. And I think this is a great way to do it. It's a positive way. Holiday weekend, when people are thinking about things that they're grateful for. What a great time. We're grateful for you guys. We're grateful for Chicago's music venues. We're grateful for you bringing music into our lives. So this is a great way to celebrate.
Yeah, great. Appreciate you saying that, because that's what we're hoping, that people will feel that way and, and contribute and help us out. So,
you know, that is a great, when you're talking about the performer playing to the empty room, you know, there's that Zen saying or whatever about what's the most important part of the vessel. Is it the structure or is it the empty space within? It's the empty space within where there is nothing that holds the wine, that holds the beverage, right? So when the venue is empty, you are more cognizant of the fact that it is the people that come to the clubs that fill our clubs, right? And so it's like, not that I should be talking about Zen or whatever, but it is.
It does make you realize, yeah.
Half full or, is the cup half full or half empty?
Right. You don't know what you've got till it's gone, right?
Yeah,
that's right.
That's what that's what we're all realizing. So.
It's a synergy of performer and audience, which actually in Chicago we keep calling the community, right? Yeah, which is cool, because the performers and the bands are the ones that go to the shows. Our clubs are filled with musicians and artists, the poster artists, the sound people. We're like, and so we're watching each other on stage perform, but we're also a participant. And that's like a really beautiful democratic small d kind of concept, all right? that we're all participants in this. And this is a reminder that when we're closed down, you know? So with this virtual festival, and that's why I love the idea of civilization, because we are called civil. Matt, did you come up with the term civilization, or?
We did. But our hashtag also, we're going with Be Civil, which I just love. I love that.
I love the idea that in Chicago, we are always like, we're small town, we're Midwest, we're neighborhood, but we're boasters and braggers. So it's like civilization, right? It's kind of a joke, but it's kind of like the basis of a civil society. Civil meaning city.
It's what's happening right now. We're building this thing where everyone's working, for free and pro bono and just putting all they got into this thing like it was their paid gig. Because they really want to support this ecosystem, and it's amazing. It's fun to watch.
Well, what I love about one of the many things I love about the Civilization Festival, the beautiful thing about Chicago's independent venues is that no two are alike. You can walk into Shuba's and get a totally different experience that you'd get in Chop Shop, that you'd get at the Hideout or Reggie's, and so on. That said, this lineup is about as varied and wide-ranging as the venues supporting it. I mean, these artists are from all corners of the Chicago music universe, which I love. Muka Paza is playing, which is no Zoom screen could fit Muka Paza, but
that's right. Right. And how many times have you seen them and it's never been the same ever, right?
How could it be?
Muka Paza, I've never seen them do the same thing ever. So that's what's kind of fun.
But I mean, how lucky are we to live in a city that has such not only a wildly diverse music community, but really talented at that. It's one thing to have a diversity of sounds, but there are really talented players making that diversity of sounds. I mean, Frank Catalano is playing, and we got Zoe Wise, who's a delight, who's been on this podcast. And this is going to be a really fun Friday night.
So this is a weird concept, though, but this is what's conscious in Chicago. It's like, you're like, all of our clubs are totally different, right? So when the Hideout opened up in 96, I mean, I was like, I want to be a combination of Fitzgerald's and lounge acts with a splash of weeds in there, with a little Green Mill jazz. Like, I was conceptualizing and thinking, but in Chicago, there's this thing. And so I would always feel guilty. People would be like, what are you trying to be like, Fitzgerald's? What are you trying to be like, lounge acts? I'd be like, yes, we are. I know that you noticed. Is it too obvious? Because we're different. We're unique. We're our own place. So it's like, we want to be individualists because it's like, no, I'm not a copycat. I'm not a wannabe. I'm a real deal. But at the same time, we do all look at like, what's Subterranean got playing tonight? What's happening at Shuba's? I'm going to check out Half Gringo. Okay. And so we're always looking at each other, but we're always super conscious of like, but don't try to be like them, be with them, but be your own guy, And it's that. So we do go out of our way to be unique, and so that is a preventer of being a community, but we all know we're all like to have all this in common. And we're not making this up, because when we started having our civil meetings, it's like, dude, I loved how you did that show that way. That was really, and we're like telling each other all the things we wanted to share, or whatever. And it's like, so we are a community, we are a neighborhood. That is what makes Chicago great. But we also are like, no, I need to be a unique character. I need to be my own. And it's that combination. So our bands, like have Green de Dos Santos, just to kick it off, Esso. Yeah, they do work with other bands. That's what makes them cool, to go like, maybe we should do heavy metal or rock, but do it in Spanish. Okay. Maybe we should. And so we're always watching everybody, and we're influenced by everybody, but we're trying to put our unique spin. And that's not an original thought that I'm making, but because we have so much of it in Chicago, I think it heightens our game, And so,
it's interesting. I did a podcast episode earlier this week with Hot Dog, and we talked about the plight of Chicago restaurants and just how important Chicago restaurants are in our communities, what a vital part from an employment perspective, but just a culture shaping perspective restaurants are. So too are the independent venues, these music venues. There's such cornerstones of all the, Tim mentioned this city of neighborhoods. Each of these venues that's part of Civil is such an important part of that specific neighborhood, to say nothing of the overall cultural fabric of Chicago. And to me, this is a no-brainer, throwing our support and love behind what you guys are doing. I love how you've come together and kept things aloft during this dumpster fire of a year. And I know nothing's been easy, but I love the spirit you're putting into this, and I love the optimism and just the work you're putting behind Civilization. I think it's fantastic.
Right on.
Thank you.
Hot dog is a great metaphor too, because Hot Dogs was a place, it's just typical hot dog stand, right? Don't try to be fancy in Chicago. But it's like, how about a hot dog with foie gras? But I'm not trying to be fancy. And it's like all that shit in Chicago. Don't put ketchup on your hot dog. It's like, oh, you learned that. Mustard only, right? No, Chicago's like, make a hot dog. Have an unpretentious hot dog stand, but do some really weird shit with it, right? Do some interesting thing. So the take is just a hot dog. That's simple proletarian working man's food, right? But how can you do that with love and with uniqueness and do it a little different? And that's like our clubs. Our clubs are actually independent venues. In other cities, they're like, yeah, they're dives. You know, yeah, those are like local dives, right? And we're like, we call them treasures and gems.
Yes,
exactly. Dive, is a deep dive, man. And when you go buying records at your favorite record store, that place in McHenry, you're like doing a crate dive there, right?
Oh, yeah.
You're like looking for the deep cuts. So
I don't want to go somewhere sterile. I want to go somewhere that is comfortable and feels like home. Like
you will actually find that treasure there because you know that place has character. It's playing
character. That's it. That's it, Matt.
Yeah.
So this is what we're dealing with,
Chicago.
James, because you want to go somewhere sterile. You're making a joke, but we're having a healthcare pandemic. And so the word is, okay, in the future, clubs, you're going to have to take your temperature. You're going to have a COVID-19 test. You're going to have to be sterile, clean, wipe off everything, which we are doing. We are doing everything we can. And we believe in that cleanliness, right? But it's like, well, how does a place, our little kind of bars that are weird, unique, quirky, wooden, how do we survive in a time where everybody wants sterility, but they don't want a corporate franchise? They don't want to walk into a sterile, corporate style franchise. They want unique, and that's what we're trying to maneuver and navigate.
Sure. And it's sterile. When I use the word sterile, it was metaphorical more than anything. But I get this.
But just to Tim's point, it's just like one more thing that we battle every day. Like if we are to open, how can we do it? Like if we can be open a little bit, is this the way to do it? And all of the options are not great, and they're all an investment. So it's just a challenging time, and I think that what Tim just said is great because we have these kind of conversations. They're ridiculous almost in context, but they're the things we're faced with every day in this weird, I don't know, purgatory that we're in right now.
Well, one of the topics I keep coming back to, or have kept coming back to during the pandemic, is innovating around and through the pandemic, how people have had no choice, especially in the creative community, and in your case, the live music community, to find innovative ways through this. And I think the Civilization series is a great example of how to find a way around this or through this or exist within this. And so what's the timing on this? This is 8:00 on Friday?
Yes, that's right. 8:00 Friday. It'll be about an hour long. That's a lot of stuff packed into 1 hour. Well, it's only a third. Is that the right math? A fifth of actually everything we have, because we're rolling it out over multiple weeks.
That's going to be awesome. So after Thanksgiving, you're not going anywhere. You're wearing your fat pants, sit in front of the monitor, the phone, the tablet, whatever, and support our amazing local
CIVL.com, and I'm going to say it CIVL just to make sure people understand that. CIVLChicago.com for everything. All the information about the Save Fund, everything we're doing, all this merch that we're dropping.
I want a shower curtain. That's my next stop.
You better put your order in quick because they're going to go. The first run is like already went live on Wednesday and it's flying. So I'm getting
some people when they put a merch plan together, it's like, well, do we do hats? Do we do keychains? You went all in. No, fuck it. We're doing shower curtains.
We have that great piece of art from Mara. What's her last name, Tim?
I can't. It's Mara.
Yeah. So she's the most amazing woman, who's just put all this effort into this. And she went back and, did these drawings of every venue in the CIVL.
It's crazy how cool this is.
Right. So that thing, large scale as a shower curtain, actually really works because then you get in all the detail, and it's really cool.
Mara exemplifies part of this community that's unbelievable. She's an artist, and she literally put that together and said, here, how can I help you guys? you know? And she did her little tiny guide to our clubs just to do it because it was a cool idea. And when the whole pandemic happened, she's like, no, I want you guys to make money. And like, she helped us put together the shower curtain, all that.
So cool.
Our whole background for Civilization is her.
Yeah.
So that's the other part. We always think it's about music, but actually it's about poster artists. They're all combined.
Yeah, the fans.
Ecosystem.
Yeah.
All right, and that seems like a great place to leave it. Tim Tuten, Matt of CIVL Chicago. Civilization Festival kicks off on Friday night on your website, and this cause is ongoing. These concerns are ongoing, and we're here to help. And I would say to anyone watching or listening, watch Civilization on Friday nights, and just spread the word. Keep this topic well socialized. Keep this information out there in front of people, because again, we live in this ADD world with a fire hose of information. The more we talk about it, the better things are. So thank you, gentlemen.
Cool. Thank you, James.